prestigious member of our school community. Dr. Michael Hogan is the author of 24 books, including the best-selling Irish Soldiers of Mexico, A History of the San Patrician Battalion, which was the basis of an MGM movie and 2 award-winning documentaries. His most recent work, Abraham Lincoln in Mexico, is now under consideration for our Netflix series. Dr. Hogan is the Chief University Consultant for the College Board's Advanced Placement Program in this region and the Latin America Consultant to the State Department's Office for Overseas Schools. A former head of the English Department and the Social Studies Department at ASFG from 1990 to 2004, Dr. Hogan founded our literary magazine, Sin Fronteras, and began the Advanced Placement Programs at ASFG. He's now an emeritus teacher at the school and the volunteer mentor for AP Capstone Seminar and AP Research. This is his 19th annual keynote speech to the National Junior Honor Society. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Michael Hogan.
Thank you, Kaito, for your warm introduction. And thank you, Ms. Kara Cruz, for inviting me this year, Mr. Markman and Ms. Fry. I'd like to take a moment to express my gratitude as well to the officers of the NJHS for their service this past year, Kaito, Lily, Camilla, Alfreda, and Maria. Welcome everyone to this wonderful celebration of the National Junior Honor Society. I'm delighted once again to be here and to congratulate you scholars and community leaders and your parents, grandparents, and teachers who have guided you along the way. Each year I try to find an original story to share with you and your family, which illustrates in some small way the possibilities of a life dedicated to service and making the best use of your gifts. As some of you know, I'm a historian. One of the stories I discovered recently from the National Archives in Washington, D.C. was that of a young girl by the name of Agnes Leclerc Joy. Now, Agnes was a smart, energetic, and athletic redhead who loved horses and equestrian jumping. When she was 17, a circus passed through her small town in Vermont with the famous Lipizzaner horses from Vienna, Austria. Now, Agnes was enchanted and persuaded the ringmaster to hire her to ride the horses bareback in shows, and she proved to be quite good at it. She also caught the eye of a visiting prince from Prussia named Felix Salm, and he proposed marriage to her, and she accepted. The next year, when Alice turned 18, the Civil War broke out in the United States. Alice's husband volunteered to serve in the Army as a captain, and Alice went to war as well as an Army nurse. She was extremely dedicated and even approached the famous General Grant to demand more medical supplies for the injured soldiers. And once, after the Battle of Antietam, a particularly bloody battle, she ordered her husband to remove his white shirt so she could tear it up for bandages for the wounded men. But Agnes also had a great spirit of fun. When President Lincoln came to visit the troops, Alice remarked, "My God, he's an ugly man. He's so ugly, he's actually kind of cute. I wonder what he would do if I kissed him." So she convinced the other nurses to surround President Lincoln, and she slipped up to him and kissed him first on one cheek, then on the other, and then on the lips. Lincoln and his armed bodyguards were too astounded to react. Mrs. Lincoln, however, was less than pleased when she heard about it the next day and reprimanded her husband quite severely. When the Civil War ended, Prince Felix joined Maximilian's army in Mexico, and Agnes became Empress Carlota's lady companion. But as Juarez's troops gained power and it became dangerous, the prince convinced her to return to Washington. A year later, Maximilian and her husband were both captured and sentenced to death. Now here's where the story gets really interesting. Washington is a long way from Mexico City. And in 1867, before air travel or even overland buses, it was not an easy place to get to. But immediately upon receiving the news by telegram of her husband's capture, Agnes took a train from Washington to Baltimore. From Baltimore, she caught a steamer to New Orleans. From New Orleans, she caught another steamer to Veracruz, then a coach to Puebla, and thence to Mexico City, and she arrived a few days later, just in time to beg for mercy from Juarez and save her husband's life. They were deported by the Mexican government to Europe, where she ended up writing a bestseller of her life and times. I tell you this story tonight to illustrate 4 things. 1, history is more interesting than just dates and wars and great masculine heroes. Far more interesting than that. 2, in every era there are people, both men and women, who do remarkable things, who save lives, who serve their countries, who use their talents. Not all of them are famous leaders. Some of them are just ordinary people who end up doing extraordinary things. 3, so don't be afraid to try new things and to challenge yourself. In every period, there are people who have many careers, like Agnes. She was an equestrian, a circus performer, a nurse, a royal companion, a biographer, a best-selling author. For if you are a girl or a young lady, you can be the Agnes of your generation. If you're a boy, you can be, or a young man, you can be someone who uses all his talents and abilities to be a true friend, a loyal companion, a contributor to your society. And this is where you begin, and tonight we congratulate you for rising to the occasion and commencing your long journey. You veteran members of the NJHS are young men and women who go beyond what is required or expected. You change the environment around you for the better. You lead in positive ways. You honor your families and your teachers. Congratulations. To you new inductees, Andres, Isabella, Claudina, Diana, Diego, and Paula, I'm very glad to welcome you to this exclusive society, and I know you will follow in the great tradition of the older members and will lead this group with vigor and enthusiasm in the years to come. To all of you in the audience, these are the students who have demonstrated excellence in the areas of scholarship, leadership, service, character, and citizenship. Characteristics which have been associated with membership in this organization since its beginning in 1929. They showed leadership when they were not having a good day. They showed grit and character by filling in when no one else was available. They showed scholarship by meeting deadlines and coming to rehearsals. And knowing, as Cato Alzati reminded us, that life is not fair, they showed citizenship by giving back to their school and community, and character, even to the extent of being willing to accept tasks that no one else wanted to do or could handle. Parents, grandparents, and teachers, thank you for being here tonight as we celebrate. Keep in mind as we celebrate them and you tonight that NJHS students are not ordinary. Notice how few of them there are up on the stage. Only 7 are being inducted tonight out of the hundreds in the 7th, 8th, and 9th grades. Only 7 new members selected this year. They are truly exceptional. They do not take the easy way out. They go beyond what we ask of them and beyond what we expect of them. We honor them because they bless us by their lives and by their service to others. Members of the NJHS, remember this night. And remember this as well. Like all beautiful things, honor can be lost. So when you raise your hand tonight and swear to uphold the traditions of the NJHS, take your oath seriously. At the end of the day, you're only as good as your word. Play fair in games. Don't cheat, even when no one is watching. Credit your sources and research papers. Tell the truth. Be kind even to those you dislike. Show up for commitments. Do more than is asked. Avoid hurting others. And don't laugh at unkindness. To quote the poet Walt Whitman, dismiss what insults your soul. Speak up for the poor, the weak, the abandoned animals, the strangers in your midst, and your very life shall become a great poem which others will embrace and love. Thank you. Enjoy your night.